federal prison. This call is being recorded and is subject to monitoring. Hang up to decline the call or to accept, dial 5 now. If you wish to block
What'd you say, sweetie?
Hey.
Hey, how you doing, Pat?
Alright. I had team yesterday.
You had what?
Team yesterday. That's where you go in and see your case manager.
Okay.
You go see him every 6 months.
Okay.
And he told me in January he's going to start my halfway house papers.
In January?
They're
That's good news, right?
Yeah, they're offering me, or he's saying they're going to try to shoot for 6 months, which means not this November, but next November.
Wait. It's July 30th now, so you're saying this coming January, which is like 6 or 7 months from now, that you might be in a halfway house, or you got to wait all the way?
No, it's going to start the paperwork.
Oh.
So it's a long approval process. Everything around here takes a long approval process.
I see.
But it could be not this November, but the following November that I'm out in a halfway house.
Wow.
But I don't know how that's going to go. He told me, and I know. Have you had any dealings with talk to Bill?
Bill who?
A friend of ours.
No. Well, if I do, I don't remember. I talked to so many people, right?
Yeah.
There's one lady who helped you with the. Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is he went to this halfway house, but he managed to get to stay with a friend of his. He didn't have to stay his entire 6 months or whatever he had. He may have had 9 months for that matter. His was white collar.
Yeah.
And and matter of fact, he was innocent too. So
Yeah.
Tax. You know how they are about tax. But
oh yeah.
anyway, he said it was in Orange Mountain, which is a very, very bad neighborhood. Now the office or the case manager told me today they only have 2 halfway houses in Tennessee. One is in Memphis, which is the one I'm thinking is in Orange Mound. But he said everything is downtown, which if it's downtown, I would feel much safer than if it was in Orange Mound. So I didn't know. I gave a friend of mine some phone numbers, and I'm asking him to look up to see if he has this guy's number, so I can try to call him and ask him about it. And then my friend's going to do some research about it, because there's one in Memphis and there's one in Nashville, and that's it.
Well, you were expected to be released in May of 2022, so November of next year.
So now I'm looking at November 2021 for halfway house.
I see. Okay. Got it. Okay.
Now, what I'm hearing about halfway houses right now is with the COVID, you're pretty much locked in a halfway house. The only way you can leave is a doctor's appointment or a job interview. And I can't imagine there's many job interviews at this point. Tennessee, I saw a list the other day. They have some new bad states now. It was Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee. Tennessee is always, I don't know why Tennessee's always at the top of that list for states with the coronavirus. You know, per capita cases is always the worst.
Yeah.
But it is. So.
Yeah.
And I know this is a long way out. Right now, what they're doing is, if you're going to a halfway house or you're going to being transferred to another facility, they're putting you in quarantine for 2 weeks here, and they're testing you. But we've pretty much all been in quarantine anyway. But one of the women I talked to, she spent 4 months in Oklahoma in transit, and they tested her twice for COVID, and it was a soft cotton swab, but one side of her nose. She got here, they took a wooden thing up both sides of her nose and rammed it up there, shoved it up there, and so.
Yeah.
But I've never felt in danger here, but when I think about going to Orange Mound, I feel in danger.
Yeah. Let me share with you my thoughts, and you take it and you do with it as you see fit. But there's a huge amount of censorship going on right now. They just had like a ton of competent doctors come out and say that the whole testing is flawed and that there's a lot of false positives, and that most of the people who get the COVID are asymptomatic or get very mild symptoms, and that it's not important. It's not important the number of people who get it because it's got a very, very small fatality rate. And usually it's those that already have health problems, like serious health problems, like you're on hospice or you're like 90 years old,
Yeah.
or, from my perspective, and they've censored that video, by the way. The doctors that stood outside and had a press conference, they were wearing their white coats. They all had medical degrees. Facebook won't let it play. It's been censored all over YouTube. YouTube won't let it play. So my concern is, Pat, first of all, they even say, I can't even tell you because they're listening, and I don't want them to have additional ammunition against me. But they make claims that people have COVID, and then all of a sudden they're forced quarantine, and it's a way for them to get rid of dissidents. I'm not convinced this COVID thing is anywhere like they say it is, if it is even a thing at all. And I'm just thinking they've blown it way out of proportion, and it's all about control and compliance.
Well, they have doctors in Florida. We have nurses and doctors in here, but we have a nurse in here that talked to her people, in Florida, and they're taking $15,000 per each case to put COVID-19 as the cause of death on death certificates.
Oh yeah.
That's happening.
So,
That's
I don't
happening.
know whether they're doing it anywhere else, but that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, Ron Paul recently made a video, and he called it the coronavirus hoax second wave, and he basically said the government is incentivizing nursing homes and hospitals to identify patients with COVID, and therefore, when the government incentivizes financially this behavior, all of a sudden everybody's getting COVID. It's like, if I get an additional $5,000 or $15,000 from the government for a nursing home resident or a hospital resident, they got COVID. Send me the money,
Yeah, well, and speaking of, my mother-in-law did get tested, and she is clean. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, even if she tested positive, it's like, I don't even trust the dang test. And we go to South Dallas every Monday, and there's a Walgreens that has a testing facility, and the line goes on a mile, Pat. It's like just car after car after car.
Go back to work.
Yes, I don't know if they're forced to get the test because they have to go back to work, or they get some kind of financial reward. But everybody in but other parts of Texas, and I don't hate to say this, but the more affluent parts, they got testing centers and there's not lines. It's like only, I don't know what's going on, but it's like if you're inclined to believe mainstream media and CNN News, you're inclined to stand in line an hour to get tested. I don't know what the deal is. So
This call is from a federal prison.
Probably the people that are on welfare that want this government system that we have, because they if you're getting from the government. I mean, it's sad to say, but when we lived in town before we got our farm and moved out, there was a sweet 14-year-old daughter across the street, and her mother, unmarried, had children. She was on welfare, and at 14, she's told her daughter, the more children you have, the more money you get from the government. And at 14, that girl got pregnant.
wow, yeah,
That's
it's
what
terrible.
we're facing in the country. We have a whole set of people that are raised thinking that way.
Yeah. They're raised thinking that they've got to get as much from the government as they can get, and their behavior is built and reflected in what can I do to get money from the government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's sad because she seemed like she was a sweet girl. She was a really bright girl. When we were packing up and leaving, she came over, and I mean, she hadn't lived there very long, but she said, "Well, I'm really going to miss y'all," and she was really sweet. But it just saddened me to think that's what her mother told her.
Yeah.
And so she went out and did it.
Yeah. That's sad. That's very sad. 14 years old.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, watch it. She's not going to finish school now. She's going to, it's an endless cycle. I mean, I really would have loved to have had more time with her and talk to her and say, look, whatever you do, go back and get your education, because otherwise you're never going to break this cycle.
Right. Well, and the educational systems we have that are mainstream are so satanic, it's almost like without homeschooling, you're just screwed. I hate to say that, but,
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true, but something's better than none.
Well, you got your degree. You got your degree in engineering, and I think that's less likely because that's so cut and dry, right? I'm an engineer too, right? We both are electrical engineers.
Call is from a federal prison.
You can't really bias electrical engineering. It's either works or it doesn't, right? It's like there's mathematics and numbers involved. But these other degrees, they definitely bias that sort of thing towards. They're left.
Psychology, history, all all that stuff, you know.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Especially history, because it's been rewritten so many times. That's what I
Oh,
tell
yeah.
my roommate all the time. So she likes hearing my little history stories. This is what it's reported, but this is what it really is. So.
Yeah. Right.
But anyway, so well, I wanted to let y'all know. You know, that is what happened. That happened yesterday, and hopefully this coronavirus hoax, whatever fear, whatever it is, hopefully, by then I won't have to worry about it. But I know I can't do $88 a week, for an ankle monitor and try to do what our friend Bill did and try to move in with a friend and put an ankle monitor on, because, $88 a week, that's ridiculous. And it may be more than that now. That's what I was paying when Mike had his on. So.
Yeah. Yeah, the amount of money they pay for these ankle monitors is absolutely criminal. It's just terrible.
Yeah,
Everything is about
I
making
can
money.
understand a month, but a week, that's just crazy.
Everything about the whole system is about sucking money out of not only the prisoner and taking every single thing that they have, but also the family, right? The loved ones, and the phone calls, and the commissary donations, and everything just added up. There's a verse in the Bible. And I wish I could remember the exact quote, but it says, they will cast you into prison. Oh, you remember the verse that says, agree with the adversary quickly before your adversary take you to the judge, and the judge deliver you to the officer, and the officer cast you in prison, and you will have to pay.
We just read it the other day. I can't remember which one it is. What is it?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up real quick.
Is it Corinthians?
Maybe.
Corinthians 1?
Maybe. I'm looking it up right now, and I think it's so important because it even talks about how they're going to take all your money. Here's what
it's either 1 Corinthians or it's Matthew, because we have a Bible verse that we have verses we read every day on this 40-day challenge, but I read to my roommate, and we actually read the whole chapter, and we did just read that the other day. But
well, I found it. Let me read it real quick. Matthew 5:25. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him, lest at any time the adversary deliver thee to the judge, and the judge deliver thee to the officer, and thou be cast into prison. Now listen to this next part. Verily I say unto thee, thou shalt by no means come out of prison, till thou hast paid the uttermost farthing. It's like, once you get put in prison, you ain't coming out till they take all your stuff. And it's like, that's so true. That's so true. That's so true.
And somebody apparently did a study and said, look, this is what they're facing when they get out.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm in a little bit different situation than most, but most of them, when they come out, whoever did this study said, we can't do it, and we're educated, and we have money and all this. We're setting them up for failure. They're going to come back.
Yeah.
So, right now they're trying to get letters here to offer Pell Grants and stuff, so these women can actually take college courses, and maybe if they can take some college courses, they can actually do something rather than just continue the cycle. And
yeah. Well, I wish we had email capability, because I just sent someone a list of about 30 suggestions for criminal justice reform. And one of those 30 was to teach real life skills, life skills such as trade skills that people can use when they get out of prison, because it doesn't sound like they're doing that at all. So.
They do it at some of the prisons. They have what they call a Unicorp. And Mike, even in some of the state prisons, has done some work for, I think it's Shaw Lumber. It was menial labor. It was, they paid them pennies on the dollar, but it was teaching a skill. We have a Unicorp building here, but there's no Unicorp here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what skills they taught. I that have been to other facilities than this one that used to work at Unicorp, and they did stuff. And a lot of them are transferring so they can work at a Unicorp. Anyway, it's beeping at us, but so some of them do, some of them don't. This one does not.
Got it. Well, God bless you, Pat. I think I did send you an email. I think I just remembered I do have core links with you, and I hope we can maintain that.
Yes, we do.
Okay, you'll see the full 30 suggestions. If you have anything to add, please do so. And we love you. We look forward to you getting out. And I'm glad. It sounds like things are moving in the right direction, but we hope you get out even sooner than that. So.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm a little bit more anxious about that. But I love you guys too, and I will talk to y'all later.
Bye, honey bunny.
Bye, Pat.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.